All right, good evening. It's a couple minutes after 6, so let's get started. My name is Joanne Janowski. This is Molly Dana, we're co-chairs of District Parent Council. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Just to give you a little bit of background on what our group is about, District Parent Council is a volunteer group. It is open to the public. We do not have elected officers or board members. It's a group of volunteers from across the district. We sponsored this evening to help give our candidates a way to connect with the public, maybe speak about their platform a little bit, what they stand for. This year we do have 3 candidates running. Cliff Borchert is running. Ed Bedient is an incumbent, he is running again. And our 3rd candidate, Peter Kwiatkowski, was not able to be here this evening. He did prepare an opening and closing statement that we will read on his behalf. And give you a quick idea of how the format is going to run this evening. We've compiled questions that have been sent in to us from parents, from district parent council members. Index cards should have been passed out if you were interested in receiving one on your way in. If you need a card at any point, raise your hand, we'll get one to you. If you are more comfortable standing up to the mic, we'll have a question session from the public towards the end of the evening. Each candidate has an opening statement and a closing statement prepared. They will have up to 3 minutes to introduce themselves to us tonight. And once introductions are done, we will start asking our questions. The candidates have no prior knowledge of the questions, so they're on the spot, they're going off the cuff. In the spirit of fairness, we will rotate the order that the questions are asked. We'll ask the question to Cliff first, and then to Ed, and then to Ed, and then to Cliff, so that each has an opportunity to go first and an opportunity to go second. We have a timekeeper sitting down front. They will let the candidates know when we reach the 1-minute mark, the 30-second mark, and when time has expired. We just ask that any questions be directed to both candidates, not to one particular, that they are not personal in nature, and keep the conversation respectful. The evening is being recorded and will be posted on the district YouTube channel. So at this point, I would like to introduce the Borchert, and if you would like to begin your opening statement, please.
All right, I gotta move around.
Okay.
But I like to stand up.
Yeah. Does it come out?
All right. Boy. I like technology. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Hello, I think you heard my name. I'm Cliff Borchert, and I'm running for the school board. I just found out this morning, hot off the press, that I received the endorsement of the West Seneca Teachers Association. And I would like to publicly thank WISTA for this honor and offer my sincerest appreciation to a great group of educators. Some of you might remember my wife, Marge. She was principal of Allendale Elementary for 20 years. I was the guy standing beside her with the camera. I took pictures at Allendale and other schools in West Seneca for years. It was a privilege taking those photos and immersing myself in the education of her students through seeing them interact with their teachers, with presenters that came in from the outside and that sort of thing. I took pictures of great events like the wonderful Odyssey of the Mind competitions and the wonderful Earth Day presentations that my favorite organization outside of West Seneca, and that's Earth Spirit Educational Services. I always learn more than just what the kids love to do. I learned what the real that there was a real purpose behind everything that went on in school. It may just seem like kids are having a fun day. I also gained a bit of perspective from what it takes to teach the whole child. And that's a buzz phrase that has been bouncing around for a long time. But it's the environment that's in our schools that creates and is critical to teaching the whole child. West Seneca is where I grew up, where I met my wife Marge. Both of us graduated from West sometime in the distant past. I went on to a great career in information technology. I worked in Western New York and represented my company in standards making bodies at the national and international level. West Seneca started me out with the basics, right up from the time I was this high. And later on, the critical thinking skills that helped me to successfully deal with people from all over the world. I frequently thought back to my experiences here in West Seneca when I was confronted with a difficult situation.
Cliff, I'm sorry, time's up.
Okay, thank you.
Ed, your turn. You have 3 minutes.
I'm just gonna start off with just saying I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate District Parent Council for putting this on. Thank you for recording it. I think that's great for the people that can't be here tonight. I'm running for re-election. This is the first time I've gotten to sit up here as an incumbent. I ran a couple other campaigns. I was unsuccessful and then successful. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve for 3 years. There's 2 seats available, and I only need 1, so you guys can just vote for me one time. I believe the last 3 years I've grown a lot. Worked very closely with the board that we have now. In fact, I believe, is the entire board here tonight? Carol, Mary, everyone's here, and I believe most of them will tell you that I've learned a lot and I've contributed a lot more this last year or so since I've attended a lot of the training we've done, and I've asked a lot of questions. So I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully being reelected and getting the opportunity to serve 3 more years. And I believe it's a good investment to vote for me because of what I've learned so far. I can continue down this path. Again, West Seneca, I got 5 kids here, so I feel I owe the district a little something. If you figure out the cost to educate 5 kids in West Seneca, I'm not paying anywhere near that in taxes. So kind of my way of giving back. I always have some ideas, and I think this is a great way to get people to maybe be involved. I love talking to people. I like talking out in public. Sometimes I talk too much, but I like hearing what they have to say, and then I can bring those ideas back to the board. I believe that we are 3 weeks away from the election, and I look forward to spend the next 3 weeks working along with Pete and Cliff, and to be honest with you, I'm really happy to see the 3 of us running. I know there's years that there's like 8 people up here. I'm happy with whatever the community chooses, but I do appreciate you guys considering me for one of the 3. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. And I will read the statement
Thank you.
that
One of the 2, sorry. Thank you. That's the president helping me out.
I will read the statement that Peter Kwiatkowski sent in to us. He is out of town on business and is not able to attend tonight. It says, I have been a resident of West Seneca for 39 years and am a proud husband and father of 3. I have a bachelor's degree in business management from St. Bonaventure University and spent 18 years in the telecommunications industry, most recently working in switching systems for Verizon Business. For the last 12 years, I have worked for the New York State Public Service Commission as a telecommunications specialist, currently tasked with implementing statewide next-generation 911 system involving the efforts of the New York State Department of Homeland Security, New York State Police, and county emergency management officials. My exposure to electronics at a young age spurred an interest that has grown into career opportunities. I feel our district needs to continue to look at creative opportunities to be able to allow our students the chance to be exposed to a variety of different career choices. The career and technical education and academy programs are excellent opportunities at the high school level. The district should be engaging parents and students at the middle school level so that they know what is available once they enter high school. When parents and students are well informed, it affords them the opportunity to plan now for those new challenges before the student enters high school. I feel a school board member must remember that the decisions made for the benefit of the district should be in line with the expectations of the community. I am running for the West Seneca School Board because I understand that programs implemented for greater student achievement need to have well-defined milestones. I believe we should be accountable for the resources we allocate or utilize and be ready to make changes if objectives are not met. I look forward to applying my experience and perspective to help promote initiatives in curriculum, athletics, music, and the arts, which will add to the cumulative educational experience of our students through graduation. Thank you. And let's get started with our questions. And we'll start with you. Please describe your vision of a school board member's relationship with administration, teachers, students, and parents. Please give specific examples of how you intend to foster those relationships.
All right, I think a school board member's relationship with those people should be, 2 ears, one mouth. I think everyone in that group wants to be heard. I think it is our job to listen. I'm not quite sure specific examples of how I plan on doing that. I've never turned away a conversation with anyone. I've never put down anyone's ideas. I think we're doing a great job in relation to whether it be Matt or administrators or teachers. We're doing a lot of tours with the school board, going into buildings, talking to different people involved. I'm really happy with what we're doing as far as forums out in the community and even through social media and communicating with the parents and the kids that way. Those are the most specific examples I can get to. So basically, I just think that I'm willing to listen and kind of listen to what their issues are and either work to help them solve it. Thank you. Work to help them solve it or relay them to the proper people. Thank you.
Thank you. Cliff, it's a long question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah, please.
Sure. Please describe your vision of a school board member's relationship with administration, teachers, students, and parents. And please give specific examples of how you intend to foster those relationships.
Well, relationships of any kind is mostly about communication. We need to have a good way of communicating to all of those constituents and bring in their ideas and document them and use that as a way of moving forward to have everyone's view be part of any solution we come up with. We can do that through a number of different methods. A meeting like this, or school board meetings, or private conversations. It's important to make sure that everyone is heard and gets a sense that what they've said has been valued by members of the school board. All right, so we'll start tonight. We'll start communicating tonight and see how it goes. You can ask questions in a little while, and we'll start those conversations. It's always important to make sure that everybody is comfortable in having those conversations and understand that those conversations are private if the people want them to be private, and also make sure that they understand that their opinions matter to the school board members.
Thank you. And Cliff will ask you a question first this time, and you answered this in your opening statement, but to have my record, have you been endorsed by any of the bargaining units or unions within the district? And if so, who?
Well, as I said before, I just found out this morning that WISTA has endorsed me in my candidacy for school board. I'm just over the moon to have their endorsement. I know a lot of the teachers through all the years that I've been involved with the school district. So I know and respect so many of them. They're a great group of people. I think West Seneca has been very lucky and very good at hiring good people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed, same question for you. Have you been endorsed by any of the bargaining units or unions within the district, and if so, who?
At this time, I have not. Maybe there's a voicemail at home, maybe not. And I know CSCA, my interview is tomorrow. I believe we're done before me or after me. So congratulations on the WISP endorsement. That's great, but no, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ed, please explain your motivation for running. In other words, what is your why?
My wife for running, and again, my wife for running the first time was I felt that I could bring a lot of maybe ideas to the board that they would enjoy. I worked on the 21st Century Committee with Lisa as a co-chair, and I really enjoyed my time learning a lot about just the nuts and bolts of things that you wouldn't think about, whether it be what's it cost to replace a roof, or how often a football field has to be repaired, or why a teacher, maybe is traveling between buildings in order to make sure we offer classes on both sides of the district. And since I've, again, been on the board for 3 years, as I said in my opening statement, the reason I want to continue is I believe I've barely just touched the surface in being able to contribute, whether it be with the different conventions we go to, the different conferences, just, again, touring of the buildings. We were just at Allendale, and I believe that was our last one for the year. And at that tour, I probably learned 10, 15 different new things that we've never, we have East Senior left. Thank you, Mary. I learned more stuff on that hour-long tour than I picked up just even, working on the other tours. So the reason I want to run is I think it's an investment that I've made 3 years. I can continue growing on that, and I'd like to just keep helping out. That's my why, is I'm really enjoying it too. Especially I would say the last couple of years, we've really grown as a group of 7, and we've had a lot of board retreats and a lot of working together on things. So my why is I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you. Cliff, a question for you. Please explain your motivation for running. In other words, what is your why?
Well, my wife told me. My wife worked for the district for 20 years, as I said. We were not just husband and wife, we were a team. We were partners. She wrote so well, and I could take a picture or two. And it was our goal throughout her career at West Seneca to document what is going on in her building and in West Seneca in general. And some of the highlights of what has happened over the years. She will certainly be missed by so many people in West Seneca that I felt it was important for some of the concepts that she had been discussing and working through throughout her career here in West Seneca would continue. And I can sort of make that difference on the school board because I can speak in her voice sometimes. And I know what she was thinking all the time. So I'm hopefully going to provide a different point of view than just a businessman who comes in and tries to help the school district operate like a business. I'm of a particularly strong view that schools are not a business. They have aspects of them that are like business. How much does it take or cost to repair a roof is a good.
Sorry, your time's up.
Okay.
So you are first up for the next question, Cliff. What are the leadership responsibilities of a school board member, and what role would you play in the day-to-day operation of the district? No, Cliff is first on this one.
Sorry. Well, if you look up the definition of what a school board is supposed to do, it's supposed to create policies and procedures on how the district is supposed to be run. And that's a leadership role right there. as a group. Now, as individuals, we can always bring our individual talents to the school district and offer those talents up to the schools and to the people that work in the district and to the individual schools within the district. And I've been very successful over the years trying to solve problems because, first of all, I'm a guy, and that's what guys want to do, is they want to solve problems. And which I heard a number of times while I was supposed to be just listening. I was trying to solve the problem. But they also are pretty good at analyzing sometimes the problem and breaking it down so that it can be worked on piecewise. And I think that's what I can bring to a leadership role in the district.
Thank you. Ed, same question. What are the leadership responsibilities of a school board member, and what role do you play in the day-to-day operation of the district?
I believe our responsibilities are, again, to work cohesively as a group. I think a lot of people are really surprised at how little an actual single school board member does as far as, day-to-day operations of the district. I've always heard us described as we're the ones who kind of set the direction we want the district to go in, and Matt and his entire team are the ones that steer the ship that way. So when a lot of people say, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? The seven of us, or minimally four of us, but the seven of us need to work together as a group and decide what's best for the district as a group. So I think what I bring to it is I'm really good at listening to what everyone wants to do, including myself, and I'm also good at kind of working as a team. So as far as day-to-day operations, though, we're not really involved in the day-to-day, but we're involved in making sure that we give the proper tools to the people that are involved in the day-to-day. Give two thumbs up.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a period.
Okay, Ed, what qualities and life experiences do you possess that set you apart from the other candidates and will help you to be a successful board member?
Again, I want to say there's three of us running. I don't know what qualities set me apart from the other two gentlemen I'm running against, but the qualities that I bring to the board is I really enjoy being on the board. I think I'm a good listener. I think I'm good at working with others. I think I have strong opinions sometimes, but I'm able to kind of temper that as far as making sure we're doing what's best. Really, I mean, in life, I run a company. I own two companies now. Both are fairly successful. I've been involved in everything from, filing bankruptcy personally to keep my business afloat, to all the way going to making enough money to remodel my house. Made my kids each their own bedroom, and I thought that was a really big accomplishment in my life. So I've seen the ups and downs of personal life, and I've seen the ups and downs of the district. So I think what I bring to it is the fact that I know sometimes when things are bad, we need to keep focus on what's good and hopefully keeping the kids taken care of. And when things are great, we can't get too excited and maybe blow the money on ridiculous things and plan for the future. So my life experience is what I bring to the board.
Thank you. Cliff, same question. What qualities and life experiences do you possess that set you apart from the other candidates and will help you be a successful board member?
As I was describing earlier, I have worked on international standards and national standards, and that is a team effort. I mean, we would meet somewhere in the United States or somewhere overseas as a group, and there might be people there from 20 different companies in 10 different countries. And each country, each company has a strength. Sometimes they have an agenda coming into a meeting to create a standard that will help them personally as a company. But the important thing of being a leader in that sort of environment is to make sure that the standard is usable inside any country or any company. Because when you get a standard that only fits one size, it doesn't work. And a standard that doesn't fit more than one size will fail. And I think that's a metaphor for what's going on in this country around education. We have to have interoperability, good word, interoperability, which is a thing that works so that somebody taking a test in one part of the country might work fine in every other part of the country or any other part of the world for that matter. I can bring that kind of perspective to the board for local issues as well as working with outside groups like the state. Thank you.
So hang on that, time's expired. Cliff, if elected, what is your single most important role as a Board of Education trustee?
I think the single most important role would be to start building those pathways of communication. First to the board members, the rest of the board members have to understand where I'm coming from, and I need to understand where they're coming from, because we're going to work as a team. So that would be my first goal at the board level. And once that was established, then I can move on to develop that sort of relationship to the administrators or to the teachers or to anyone who works within the district. I sort of see the district as having three. I'm a country boy at heart. I grew up in West Seneca, but it was one of the few farming areas of West Seneca a long time ago. And when my grandmother had a cow that she was milking, she had a little stool. And that little stool had 3 legs. Stools don't normally have 3 legs. And I always wondered why they have 3 legs. That's because that's the minimum number that will be stable on an uneven surface. 4 legs will go. I see our 3 bargaining units as 3 of those legs. You know, WISTA, the Administrative Association, and CSEA are 3 legs, and that we don't want that stool flop over. We want it to be stable, and we can't have one part of that stool dominate how we move. That's a just. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question for you, Ed. If elected, what is your single most important role as a Board of Education trustee?
My single most important role, again, is to work with the other 6 members on the board. That's, I think without working together as a team, the whole thing just falls apart. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, Ed, what do you feel is lacking in the West Seneca School District, and how will you work to improve it? What do you feel is working very well, and what would you do to preserve it?
What do I feel is lacking in the West Seneca School District right now? It's difficult to say because we've had a lot of conversations about things that we're working on, and I can honestly tell you the things I ran on 3 years ago are either in the process or have been discussed working on. The biggest thing I think we're facing currently is, I'm going to think from an inside knowledge as a board member, is I'm really concerned with our attendance, and I'm concerned with, I'd like to see our graduation rates kind of improve, and I think they're both heavily connected. So that's something I'd like to see improve. The other question was, I apologize.
No, that's okay. What do you feel is lacking? How will you improve it?
Okay.
and what you feel is working
Okay.
and how you preserve it.
So how would I improve the attendance? Again, we supported our administration in just recently putting together a real nice attendance plan policy to help increase attendance. The other way I support it is I'm a big proponent of getting the kids into schools, whether it's before school, after school activity, weekend activity, whatever we do besides just in the classroom. And I think that will help improve it. So I'd like to support the parent groups and make sure we're supporting the building principals and anyone involved in the kids, not just during the day, but on the outside of it. And then what do I think we're doing really well at? I think we're doing really well right now at communicating and listening to the community. Our recent several last board meetings, we maybe had 1 or 2 people up to complain. I'm not receiving hate mail. I'm not receiving, for related to school district stuff. And I'm not really, people aren't walking up to me complaining. They're walking up to me with compliments. Mr. Bystrack and his crew are doing
Sorry,
really
time's
well.
up.
Thank you.
Cliff will ask you the same question. What do you feel is lacking in the West Seneca School District, and how will you work to improve it? What do you feel is working very well, and what will you do to preserve it?
Lacking. It's an internal issue that has an external measurement, and that is, I think our students need to not only get into college, but need to finish college. And I think we can do things while they're in our school to make sure that they have the tools they need to not only gain admittance to a college, but also to complete and get a degree from those colleges. How would I do that? I think we need to work as a group because kids are individuals. And each kid has perhaps a slightly different solution to this issue. Kids are really excited when they're in West Seneca. I am always amazed. I've been able to take pictures of the students of excellence and the kids who were in the academies, and I'm always impressed by the quality of the students that are that attend those graduation classes and have their favorite educator rewarded by being selected when they go through their process of becoming a student of excellence. And I would like to bring that level of excitement to all kids in the district, because that's what drives kids to do well after high school, is that they have to come out of high school enthused that they have a life that is going to be really exciting. And putting them out into the world, I know colleges are a totally different environment than high school. I remember it very well. So we need to do that.
Time's up.
Okay.
But we'll start with you for the next question, Cliff.
Sure.
Which district programming do you value most and want to protect during budget uncertainty? You cannot say all of them. You've got to make some tough choices. And please explain your choices.
Well, the most important things are aspects of the skills needed to be successful in life. I think we need to provide funding so that individuals, the kids who excel at everything, they're going to excel. And we need to provide them with those experiences so that they'll go out and do important work after they leave school. I think the kids who struggle, we need to make sure that they get what they need, because we're here to teach all of the kids, whether they be top students or near the bottom. But I don't want us to leave the average kid out. I want to make sure that they get what they need. So you have to balance, when you're looking at funding, work at all three of those areas to make sure that all of the kids get what they need when they come out of the center.
Thank you. And I'll ask you the same question. Which district programs do you value most and would want to protect during budget uncertainty? You can't say everything. Please explain your choices.
I'm gonna speak as if I'm speaking as a parent. As a board member, again, I necessarily would have to, I would have to choose programs that kind of the board would agree to fight for. But I mean, personally, one of the reasons I ran was I wanted to help support our music program. I think that's very big. The extracurricular activities are huge, whether it be the clubs or sports. I believe it's that stuff that keeps a lot of the kids involved. Obviously, you can't cut certain things like, you know, math and science and all that. But it would be definitely, as a parent, I would want to see the board fighting to protect the extra stuff that the kids get to do every day, whether it be through saving money in other ways or raising taxes. It's something I think if the kids are just coming to school, going through the motions, learning math, science, and stuff, and then going home, I think we will lose a lot of them. It's whether it's baseball or marching band or chess club or I know there's some elementary schools used to put on plays, and there's so much stuff that we do that whether it be monetary or not, there'd always be to find a way to keep them going, and that's what I like to see. As a board member, I'd give that voice, and then I think it'll be up to the board to decide as a group what to focus on.
Okay, thank you. And we'll start with you for the next question. We talk a lot about what our community values. Please describe what you think our community values the most, and how will you work to support those values?
What our community value? I think our community overall does value the things I just kept on talking about. They love our marching band. They love our football team. They love the fact that we have kids doing the swimming. I believe last year we had several championships that the kids it's on the front page of the paper for. We have, you know, kids going to Quebec. We have kids going to DC, field trips, and I don't know. That's that stuff. So, sorry, try to take it more time, but that's how it is.
It's okay. You don't have to tease me.
I know. I feel bad if she
Okay.
doesn't get to use them all.
Okay, Cliff, I'll ask you the same question.
Okay.
We talk a lot about what our community values. Please describe what you think our community values the most, and how will you work to support those values?
Well, our community is very focused on education. I mean, we always have had excellent schools in West Seneca, and I can attest to that. Even when I was going to school, they were very excellent schools. And an aspect of that is what Ed was just talking about, getting yards. And sports as part of that, those community values, because it's a spirit that you want to maintain in a community, not just having the gears go around. There's aspects of what West Seneca has always meant to me is things like, one of my interests has been the Birchfield Nature and Art Center. And I've been involved in that for many, many years. That's because when I was in school, we had a program at Gardenville, elementary school, about Charles Birchfield. And I got selected to go to his house. And I credit having gone there at one time to my being a photographer today. I couldn't paint. I tried that. But that's the sort of activity that is critical to making that whole child work, is to have things that are beyond just math, science. Everybody needs to have that. We need to be able to have a spirit within the district and within the community that supports that district, that is positive and
Time's up.
time's up.
But we have a second part to that question, and you get to answer it first. Would you be open to a yearly survey of families, students, graduates, community residents, faculty, and staff about what they see as major strengths and shortcomings of the district and its schools? And would you be committed to publicly sharing the results?
That's a very interesting question, because surveys are a very interesting proposition to talk about, because a survey is psychology, and it's the psychology of the person doing the survey. We found many times when we've done surveys outside of school systems, outside of, for instance, in industry, that you can affect the result you get when you do a survey by how you ask the questions in the survey. So I like the idea of a survey, but we need to have a lot of control over what kinds of questions you ask in a survey to make sure you get people's real opinions, not just the surveyors, whatever that right terminology is, the person providing the survey to the individual, what they expect from the results of that survey. It's just a very interesting branch of psychology. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed, same question for you. Would you be open to a yearly survey of families, students, graduates, community residents, faculty, and staff about what they see as major strengths and shortcomings of the district and its schools? And would you be committed to publicly sharing the results?
Yes, I would love to survey. We've discussed this before, and it's something that I think can happen. I don't necessarily know the best way to publicly share results, say, from the survey. Depends on what we would agree on as a board or as a district. Personally, I don't know if the board themselves would do surveys or if we would work with the district in doing it. But not only would love to do surveys, I'd love to survey even groups in the district, whether it be, different levels. One group of people I would love to survey would be the kids 3 or 4 years after they're out of school, and say, what did we do that worked for you, and what could we have done better to help you where you're at. I don't currently know how much tracking we do of the kids once they graduate, but with social media, Facebook, and technology, I think there's definitely platforms out there where we can communicate with former students and find out where things can be, I don't want to use the word fixed, but where things can be changed or looked at differently for the upcoming students. Huge fan of any type of communication, especially surveys.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ed, advocacy is one of the many responsibilities of a school board member. If you had an opportunity to sit at the table with local legislators, the Board of Regents, and Commissioner Elliott, what would you advocate for?
One of the big things, and again, I want to point out in the room, Jan is here, and she is one of our biggest advocates with our local legislators. She actually travels a lot and deals with them, and I do pay attention to what she says in relation to this. One of the biggest things that I would like to advocate for is I'll be honest, the funding that we're receiving compared to the way it used to be. I believe a lot of the districts locally, hands are tied with the way they're mandating more and more things, and then they're reducing the state aid that comes with it. So my biggest thing I'd probably fight for is to stop necessarily holding us hostage where we don't even know what our budget numbers are, so close to putting together budgets for the year. And 2, every year we're almost in a state of what's going to happen next year. I'd like to get a little more commitment to them to put together more long-term promises for funding. Thank you. And I do, as a school board member, I am also active in a lot of events we attend, whether it be the Students of Excellence or even just chamber events and local events where we do have our local legislators and state people visiting. So I do get to talk to them a lot. Again, maybe not as much as our lovely Jan. Someday she'll take me with to Albany, I hope. That's what I would do. I really push for more stable funding. I'm really tired of a knot in my stomach at budget time every year. I don't think it's fair to the community.
Okay, thank you. Cliff, I'll ask you the same question. Advocacy is one of the many responsibilities of a school board member. If you had an opportunity to sit at a table with local legislators, the Board of Regents, and Commissioner Elliott, what would you advocate for?
Local control. We have almost no control as a school board over a lot of the aspects of what goes on in our schools. New York State has continued to create regulations and requirements, unfunded mandates are a big issue. When they mandate something and then impose a 2% tax cap, your flexibility goes from here to here to here to there. No flexibility whatsoever. If they continue the process they've been following over the years. They like to have unfunded mandates because it relieves them of the necessity to raise taxes at their level. But they're forcing school boards to raise taxes. And then, like I said, you put a 2% tax cap on and it squeezes all the air out of the process. You have no flexibility whatsoever. And local control demands some flexibility at the local level. You have to have it. You can't operate with no budget to do anything other than what the state is mandating. Thank you.
Okay, and last question compiled by DPC. We'll start with you, Cliff.
Okay.
In the development of a school district budget, what goals and objectives would guide your decision-making?
Budgets are always very popular subjects for discussion. Budgets are where the rubber meets the road in a lot of cases, because you can talk about all of your wishes and your hopes for how to proceed to make life better for the students or your employees or the community. But when you have to get down to putting numbers on paper for how much you're going to spend on any of those aspects, that's when you need a school board that has a level head, that understands that you can't just be wishful thinking that the state will give you all the money you need for a particular thing. It doesn't happen too often. Once in a while they surprise you, like that election time. But you need to have a board that works together and can make those hard decisions, because you're going to apply resources in very specific categories in a budget, and that's where you're challenging the staff, Matt and his team, to produce the results the students need within the budget that you set out. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll repeat the question. In the development of a school district budget, what goals and objectives would guide your decision-making?
Well, developing the budget the last few years, the things that have guided my decision-making, and I don't want to, what's best for the students, because, I think that's the goal. When I looked at it was, is this going to help long-term? Are decisions we're making going to hurt, help the long-term goals of the district and not just short-term needs? Almost begin with the end in mind, where we want to be at in 10, 15, 20 years, and working backwards, what are some decisions we can make now? Very similar to the bond vote that we just passed. We had a lot of decisions to make on how much to go for, how much to ask, What do we do with the community? Do we look at raising taxes, not raising taxes? And the package that was put together, I think, was a great example of how we were able to get the vote to pass, I believe overwhelming support. We're able to start providing things that need to be repaired and providing some better quality, thank you, better quality things, i.e. the bricks are getting remortared at the high school. I mean, we're able to do this stuff. We didn't increase the taxes from the vote, and our brilliant finance department was able to make it all work. And we're getting a large percent of that money from the state to do the work. So that's how the process works. So that's an example of what I just went through with it.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any index cards that were collected for questions? Do you want to read it at the mic, or would you like us to read it for you? Your call.
Cliff, you mentioned college readiness earlier tonight. I believe that block scheduling in high schools is a huge contributor to college readiness in high school students. Do you support block scheduling in our high schools? Why or why not?
Well, block scheduling is an interesting issue because it puts time parameters around each subject matter. And that works fine for the kid who's got that time frame and that subject matter, and it matches out. Not every kid is going to be able to learn what you want them to learn in that block. So you need to have flexibility in how you deal with individual kids while you're still using block scheduling. And that's not easy, but that's what we have to do. Thank you.
Same here.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. I believe that block scheduling is a huge contributor to college readiness in high schoolers. Do you support block scheduling? Why or why not?
On a personal level, I like block scheduling. I'm looking over it's public, right? But yeah. So we're moving away from block scheduling, and I fully support it. Mostly because of, actually, I gotta agree with Cliff. Our administration came to us and talked about what their plan was and why they were doing it. I like it. I like the flexibility that it is going to bring. It's got its pros and its cons either way. So basically what I'm going to tell you is I'm going along with what our administrators are kind of looking to do. But personally, I don't necessarily have an issue with block scheduling. I've got 5 children. I think 2 of them do really well with block scheduling. The other few would not do well with it, so I'm not going to make my decisions based personally. But what I'm going to tell you is I think the moving away from the block scheduling is going to give us a lot more flexibility with offering, whether it be a little more electives, flexibility for the students, and scheduling. I think it's going to make things a little easier, and that's what I've learned. So do I personally support it or against it? I mean, it's not a hill I'm going to die on. I'm listening to what our administrators want to do, and I'm going to support them on that.
Great, thank you.
Just to share real quick, we probably every other year discuss block scheduling, stay to the period scheduling. The next year it's discussed again. Do we want to change it? Do we not? It's just a discussion every year, just about.
Yeah, I'm just very careful as a board member. I don't want to say what we discussed and I'm not
But
allowed to
there's
talk
always
about it.
people that are bringing it up in conversation.
Yeah.
I'll bet you like every other year it's discussed.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for our candidates? Yeah, if you stand up to the mic, since it's being recorded, that way your question can be heard.
Okay, I currently have 2 high schoolers, and one of them is interested in the BOCES program. But when I talked to the counselor, she informed me that 30 kids at West were not being able to go to BOCES because there wasn't enough spots. And she did imply that some of those kids will be dropping out of school. If you were on the board, what would you do to support the kids that need a BOCES program, and how would you get more involved?
Just checking. I don't know how to answer what was said to you by the guidance counselor. I think, I don't know, at least 2/3 of this room follow me on social media. I'm a huge proponent of kids not necessarily always going to college. I love the BOCES program, and I love working with the kids and finding things that are not always college bound. I myself probably shouldn't have gone to college. I probably should have worked on something a little more that I enjoy. We as a board have supported increasing BOCES programs and some of the things that we do. I'm taken aback by what was told to you, and I would hope that you could reach out to whether it be the principal or our board president, and have a discussion about that, please. But I 100% support getting as many kids into the program as we can. Sorry about that.
Karen, could you repeat the question?
Basically, do you support the BOCES program? How can we get all the kids that want to into the program?
Well, BOCES apparently sets limits to how many slots they'll have available, and that's not necessarily the way I would hope that they would operate in the future. They have to be flexible to accommodate all of our students that want a BOCES situation. Not necessarily that we can just open it wide open, because that becomes very difficult for them to staff and everything. But a conversation between our board and the BOCES board definitely needs to be targeted at what our children need from BOCES and what we as a school district expect BOCES to be able to provide for us. I know that BOCES are not under the same constraints that individual school districts are. And they need to help districts succeed and the students in those districts succeed, not necessarily just come up with an arbitrary number.
Thank you. Any more questions for our candidates? Okay. Let's wrap up with closing statements then. I will read the statement that Peter Kwiatkowski sent in to us. He thanked the District Parent Council for giving him the opportunity. As stated, I feel the decisions that the district makes needs to be in line with the community's expectations. I plan to work with the current board members to promote initiatives that not only raise graduation rates, but produce exceptional young adults whom I hope live, work, and stay within this community. I want to thank those of you in attendance tonight, and I would like to ask for you to consider me for one of your 2 votes on Election Day, May 21st. Ed, will you give us your closing statement, please?
Sure. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming. It may be hard to believe, but this is one of my favorite nights of the year, especially the years I'm running. Thank you again for coming. Thank you, District Parent Council, for putting this on, and especially getting it out to the district, the people who couldn't be here, and view it. They get a chance to see me on their computer. Again, I do ask anyone who's considering voting for me, remember there's 2 seats available. I would love, again, to be chosen to return to the board for 3 more years. I think I've done a really great job of listening to the community. I think I listen to taxpayers, everyone who lives in the district. I think I do well listening to teachers, CSEA members, students, fellow board members, administrators. I love listening, and then I love talking about it and working to fix our problems or even just make things that are good better. I enjoy the effort the board has put in with me the last 3 years as far as us all working together and growing. And I just ask, please consider letting me continue this for 3 more years. I would be eternally grateful. Look forward to seeing you guys on May 21st. And remember, number 2 on the ballot.
Thank you. Cliff, your closing statement, please.
Okay. Again, I didn't get to finish my opening statements. I'm going to dovetail some of that in my closing statement. Some of you have heard me talk about Earth Spirit, and what I do there. I'm on the board of directors of Earth Spirit Educational Services. We go into schools and we teach children about nature studies and ecology. We've been involved with West Seneca for over 20 years. I think that nature is a big part of that spirit that West Seneca has. Because we're in the suburbs, but we have nice green spaces in West Seneca that you can go out and commune with nature. And the more our students get to understand nature, the better they'll succeed in later life to help us deal with the issues that the human race is providing a difficult situation, perhaps, with our world. I also am I love the fact that West Seneca has great people. We have great educators, we have great citizens, and they like to work together, and I think we can work together to navigate the ever-changing world of this new century. One thing is that technology has been given more and more attention in our schools, and I'm going to paraphrase a great principle I happen to know, or I happen to remember very well. Gadgets don't teach kids, people do. This is just a tool. We can't abdicate our responsibility and say, oh, the technology will solve the problem. In closing, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. West Seneca is my hometown. Its schools were where I was educated. I was one of those whole children that we talk about. Now it's time for that child to give back to this wonderful place. I want to be a school board member to give your kids the same chance I and my wife had. And that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone who's in attendance tonight. Hopefully you will take away some valuable information that helps you to make an informed decision when you go out and vote. Just a reminder, voting is May 21st. It's a Tuesday. It's here at East Senior from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. And please spread the word to family, friends, co-workers, anybody in the community to get out and vote. Anyone in the district can vote, whether you rent, whether you are a homeowner. And again, tonight's presentation will be available online on the district's YouTube station. It will be shown in its entirety. It is not edited in any way. Thank you. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk and I will still be here if anyone wants to talk individually.